Hey everyone, hope you guys are all having a great day. Untitled Chapter 2 has officially started, and this week we finally get our hands on a new medic weapon, the ZK-383. A Czechoslovakian made submachine gun that was used by the Germans during World War II after they occupied the Czechoslovakian production factory. I guess the gun was just too good to pass by, and the same could be said in Battlefield 5 too. It's quite unique as it's the only SMG in the game to have a bipod, but otherwise it physically very much resembles the MP18. The ZK-383 has a 30 round magazine and a rate of fire of 514 rounds per minute, but both can be upgraded through the specialization tree, which I will discuss later in more detail. The ZK has a single fire mode, but it's hard to imagine a situation where single fire is required. I barely find myself in a situation where I need to burst, let alone tap fire. Also, the bipod does a much better job at minimizing recoil, so you're better off using a bipod if you need to engage enemies from a far distance. If you're wondering what the stats are, the ZK-383 inflicts a maximum damage of 25 up to 10 meters, 20 damage from 30 meters, and drops off to a minimum damage of 13 from 100 meters and beyond. In terms of bullets needed to finish your opponents, you need to land 4 bullets up to 10 meters, 5 bullets from 11 to 30 meters, 6 bullets from 31 to 50 meters, 7 bullets from 51 to 75 meters, and a staggering 8 bullets from 75 meters and beyond. These damage stats are collectively shared by all other SMGs in Battlefield 5 except for the MP34. So it doesn't tell us much other than just confirm that the MP34 is still the best medic weapon for range. The ZK's initial vertical recoil is 0.42, the vertical recoil is 0.04, and the horizontal recoil is 0.085. That gives it the lowest horizontal and vertical recoil in the entire medic class if you decide to keep the RPM at 514. This makes it highly accurate and easy to control even without the use of a bipod. Great for landing those headshots at a consistent rate without much difficulty either. However, once the RPM is increased to 720, the vertical recoil increases to 0.056 and the horizontal recoil increases to 0.34. Yet that's still less recoil than the Thompson and the recently buffed Suomi. So if you struggle to control the recoil of the Suomi and Thompson, this will be an adequate replacement, but do keep in mind you're left with 20 rounds less. The time it takes to reload the ZK when it's empty is 2.96 seconds and 2.1 seconds if you have any bullets remaining. That gives it the second quickest reload time in the entire medic class, making it ideal for an aggressive playstyle and overall less punishing per reload. The ZK has a bullet velocity of 495, which is shared by the MP34 and the Sten. The high bullet velocity will allow you to pick off opponents at mid to long ranges fairly easy. However, the MP34 still inflicts more damage over distance, so I don't see the ZK replacing it, but rather as an alternative option, mainly for his bipod abilities and larger magazine size. So in terms of raw TTK, how good is the ZK-383 compared to the other SMGs? Well, a ZK-383 with a rate of fire of 514 rounds per minute has a TTK of 350 milliseconds up to 9 meters. This gives it the joint slowest TTK alongside the MP34. That means every other medic weapon except the MP34 will outperform the ZK in a perfect environment where all shots land. So if you're a combat medic that likes to engage in close quarter battles, then the 514 rounds per minute ZK isn't going to be the best weapon for the job. On the other hand, an upgraded ZK with a rate of fire of 720 rounds per minute has a TTK of 250 milliseconds up to 9 meters. That's a identical TTK to the Thompson and just short of the 770 rounds per minute Suomi by only 17 milliseconds. Even though the Suomi is slightly better off in terms of raw TTK, the bullet velocity wasn't taken into account here, so the TTK gap between the two will shorten with every additional meter, and eventually will surpass it over distance. Compared to the Thompson and the Suomi, the ZK has the luxury of lower recoil, which makes a huge difference outside of the perfect environment where every single missed bullet increases the TTK. This makes it easier to consistently land shots on target and achieve an efficient TTK rate. However, once the Thompson and the Suomi are upgraded to a faster rate of fire, the ZK will rank third in terms of TTK. So let's dive into the specializations. What are the best combinations and what optics should I be using? For the first pick, I've opted to go for barrel bedding over lightened stock, simply because I tend to avoid lightened stock as much as possible. The increase in ADS movement interferes with my aim and muscle memory, as the left movement stick of a controller is used to aim horizontally. The lightened stock acts as a sensitivity boost, and no one would constantly change their sensitivity on a per weapon basis, so if you really want to improve, you don't really want to use the lightened stock. Therefore, picking barrel bedding was an easy decision, and you get the bonus of less spread when stationary. For my second pick, I've opted to go for quick aim, as it reduces the time it takes to aim down sight by 33% and allows me to acquire my targets much quicker than usual. I always tend to use a one-time sight so I can get a clear visual representation of recoil, and it helps me better control the recoil. The third option, light bolt, increases the rate of fire from 514 to 720 RPM. This increases the TTK up to 250 milliseconds up to 9 meters. On the other side of the specialization tree, the extended mag increases your magazine capacity by 10 bullets, but it's hardly worth sacrificing the faster TTK for an extra few bullets. And lastly, I've opted to go for the high velocity bullets over quick reload. The ZK has the second fastest reload time in the entire meta class, so I don't think an extra 15% faster reload will make a significant difference. The 10% increase in bullet velocity is the best option, as most maps tend to favour mid to long range engagements. Overall, the ZK-383 is a versatile fast firing SMG that can engage with medium to long range targets more comfortably compared to its counterparts. The bipod allows instant accuracy and control that no other medic weapon can offer, and doesn't lack in the ammo department either. Will I pick the ZK over the Thompson? Yes. Will I pick the ZK over the Suomi? I don't think so. I just don't see myself giving up the larger magazine. Let me know what you think of the new medic weapon down below. Leave a rating and I'll see you later. Take care.